What if I told you that in the 1970s, America was in its weird food era, and nobody even realized it? This was the decade when creativity in the kitchen went completely off the rails. Salads had Jell-O, hot dogs floated in gelatin, and dinner parties looked like a science experiment. But here's the crazy part. People loved it. This wasn't a joke. This was fine dining. Tuna and peas trapped in Jello. Delicious meatloaf covered in frosting? Absolutely yes. Pineapple slices on every dish? Of course, the 1970s didn't care about calories, carbs, or cholesterol. They cared about creativity, color, and the pure joy of shocking your dinner guests. It was the golden age of why not cooking. So buckle up, because we're about to dive fork first into the weirdest, funniest, most meme-worthy foods America ever invented. The 1970s were a wild playground for American home cooks. It was the era of bright orange Tupperware, avocado green kitchens, and cookbook photos that looked more like abstract art than food. Everything was bold, colorful, and slightly confusing. And that's what made it iconic. One of the biggest trends was Jello everything. Not just as dessert, oh no. We're talking about Jello salads, Jello vegetables, even Jello meats. Imagine walking into a party and seeing shrimp floating in lime gelatin, proudly sitting in the center of the table. And people actually said, wow, that looks fancy. Then came the crown jewel of chaos, the aspic ring, a shimmering circle of gelatin filled with mystery meats, olives, and whatever you found in your fridge that day. It looked like something out of a science fiction movie. But in 1974, that was considered high society cooking. And don't forget the 7-layer salad. Lettuce, peas, eggs, cheese, and bacon stacked in a glass bowl like a food rainbow. It was the original Instagram food, long before hashtags were a thing. But the madness didn't stop there. There were ham and banana hollandaise, liver pâté molds, and spaghetti pie. Yes, actual spaghetti baked into a pie shell. If that doesn't scream meme material, I don't know what does. And somehow every cookbook from that decade told housewives to impress your guests with these recipes. Imagine your mom serving fish molded into a gelatin castle. That's not dinner, that's performance art. But here's the thing. Behind the weirdness, there was something kind of beautiful. The 1970s were about trying new things. People didn't play it safe. They experimented, they laughed, and they weren't afraid to fail. And honestly, that's a lesson modern cooking could use a little more of today. So what happened to all those wild 1970s foods? Some vanished quietly, others got mocked in memes, and a few made surprising comebacks at hipster restaurants. But one thing's for sure, the 70s dared to be different. It was the decade when creativity ruled the kitchen. And food was as much about fun as it was about flavor. Maybe that's why we still talk about it. Because deep down, we kind of miss that fearless energy. When people weren't afraid to mix bananas with bacon or cover meatloaf in frosting just to see what would happen. It was weird, it was bold, and it was unforgettable. So here's my question for you. If you could bring back one weird 1970s food just for the memes, which one would it be? Would you try the Jello salad, the spaghetti pie, or the ham and banana hollandaise? Drop your answer in the comments. Let us see who is brave enough to eat like it. S1974 again. Thanks for watching weird 1970s American foods that deserve a meme revival. MMD Edit. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned. Because next time, we're taking a trip into the bizarre world of 1980s commercials that aged like milk.